tonight on Bent TV, in the thick of it with Sammi Whitehead, and I'll be joined by award-winning filmmaker and stand-up extraordinaire, Jonathan Duffy. On Bent TV, in the thick of it with Sammi, and joining me, award-winning filmmaker and stand-up extraordinaire, Jonathan Duffy. Jono, darling, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we talk about award-winning filmmaker for his wonderful film, The Doctor's Wife, but that's not the only thing that you're incredibly famous for. Man About Town, sort of, you know, stuck in between the comedy world and the serious stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of the work you've done.
Okay, so when I first moved to Melbourne just about a year ago.
As a refugee from the Campbell Newman government, yes.
I had a few just very quick lines in a rehearsed reading of playing Rock Hudson.
Oh, that was a fabulous production about his life. Yes.
And I got to sit next to Antoninus.
Ooh, look out!
He's one of my little crushes for a long time. So I did that, and then that eventually led to me getting to know more people in Melbourne. So I started doing more stand-up, which I'm always doing, and then I also did a show in the Comedy Festival, and I did. I had the lead in Dorian.
That was in Midsumma 2012. Now, I believe there's a really interesting story about you and some molasses, a part of that performance.
Yes, Dorian was. It was a kind of a more contemporary piece. And it was based on the portrait of Dorian Gray.
Yep.
And every night for 7 nights, the way Dorian he was a model or something in this particular.
Which clearly it's why you got the lead.
Stop it.
Oh.
Every night I emerged from a bathtub filled with molasses, pretty much nude, and stumbled down a stage and then died, and then I would have to stand up where I was and walk through the audience to go to the shower. So dripping molasses everywhere.
Lovely.
I still have flashbacks, actually. Occasionally I smell
the counselling's working okay with that?
Maybe. I could just be sitting here and suddenly I'll smell molasses and there's no reason.
Oh, it's one of those things that you'll never look at it the same again.
Yeah, but my hair was amazing afterwards.
Was it really? Oh, so shiny.
It was.
Now, we talk about the difference between the serious stuff with doing something like that, and you're also very well known for a lot of your stand-up as well.
I like to think people know me. It's probably a bit far from the truth.
No. But not that far.
It's probably, I enjoy it more because I can be lazier in stand-up because you're just sharing opinions and telling jokes, and for me there's less preparation involved. When you're doing the more serious stuff, there's script reading and you've really got to research characters.
Yep.
And like, for instance, I'm preparing for a role in a show later this year, which I won't give anything away just yet, but I actually have to convincingly play a woman. So that's going to take a lot of preparation because the director's insistent that it's not drag, that it's you are playing a woman. So
Midsumma 2014.
Yes.
Without Me, I'm Nothing.
Without Me, I'm Nothing. It's my first solo show here in Melbourne.
Wow, excited?
I'm excited. I'm also crapping myself a lot. But yeah, Without Me, I'm Nothing. It came out of a birth of me having a complete disdain for The Secret. And that, the just will
Which
everything.
Has changed so many people's lives.
It's changed Oprah's life.
Oh my God.
It really has.
Yeah, I know. She wrote a book about it.
She did.
Yeah.
It started out as that, and then it became this 1 hour show which has lots of jokes. It has some songs. There's actually 3 original songs in the show. It has some crazy outfits as well.
Some amazing costumes.
Yes, I'll reveal. I'll tell. One of them is the Bjork swan dress.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know, it's just, I've actually seen.
I've shown you a picture. I've shown you a picture.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely fabulous. Now, the great thing about this is that you also a lot of it's coming from the heart, and a lot of it's you telling stories of how you look at different things too.
Exactly. And it's not just, I was like going through my lines and stuff the other day, and I think it's important to tell people it is traditionally, I guess, what you'd say a stand-up show, but there are a few moments in there that will take some people by surprise. There are a few peaks and troughs, if you will, and I'll be revealing, some quite intimate things about myself as well. So,
even more intimate than we saw in the movie.
Yes, actually.
Wow, it's going to be an exciting journey. So for you, you're already at the point where not only is this amazing production for Midsumma, but there's already work for you for later in the year.
There is, and if this is a successful show, then I may remount it, put it on again, or take it around. I'd love to tour it. That would be amazing.
You've also been a really great support of doing some fabulous work with our amazing friend Daniel Whitehouse.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to have you back when we get Daniel in to talk about some of the stuff that you've done with him with filmmaking and his cartoon series and so many other things. But is it for you, you feel like you're sort of giving something back as well when you're involved with some of these great community projects? Because you're also a great supporter of the Shepparton Diversity Group and all the stuff that they do up there. Yeah,
and it is sort of giving back. I've also started a web series as well called The Meaning of Marriage.
Yes. What's the website for that?
So it's all through YouTube, but you can go to it's Facebook.com and /Meaning of Marriage TV.
So the plan is with this is every month you're going to upload another series, another part of this series
until marriage equality is legal in Australia.
So it could go for 6 months or it could go for 6 years.
It could, exactly. it could be a very shortly lived series or a long one. But what we're doing is exploring what marriage actually means to modern Australia, not just gay and lesbian people, but to people in polyamorous relationships, people who are in deeply religious, cultures, and what does marriage actually mean today? And is there a valid non-religious reason why, say, myself and my partner Vincent shouldn't be able to get married?
We're at that point now, I think, where marriage is, now they've changed the actual wording and taken it away from gay marriage and made it about equal rights, that people in the broader community are starting to take it more seriously. And with this fabulous series that you've got going, it's going to make such a difference, I think, because it's showing people that we're all just the same as everybody else.
Hopefully.
Now, darling, I'm really looking forward to this fabulous show, and just the rest of your career is just going from strength to strength.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us here. And I look forward to having you in again very, very shortly. You're with Sammi on BTV, in the thick of it with award-winning filmmaker and stand-up extraordinaire Jonathan Duffy.
Watching Quedia with Steve Pereira, where we explore all things queer and everything media. And what an exciting show we have for you tonight. Stay tuned. You're on BTV, on Quedia, where we explore all things queer, everything media. I'm Steve Pereira, and today I'm very pleased to have a compatriot of mine. It's very rare. But we have Rochelle De Silva, who is a fellow Goan Indian from India, and we're both kind of deformed Catholics, and that's what we're going to talk about. I told you I was going to start off with what's a good Catholic girl like you doing at a place like this?
Hopefully poetry.
Fantastic. How did you get into poetry?
I've been writing since I was 6 years old. But I only started performing 2 years ago when I lost a very close friend of mine, and I wanted to tell his story, so I did it as part of a producing culture class, which is when they told me that I should try spoken word.
And what about spoken word appeal to you? As opposed to music or novels or any other kind of fiction?
Just poetry has always appealed to me. Standing on a stage performing terrifies me, which is why I do it. It keeps me pushing myself.
Because it's one thing to write poetry, which is a very isolating exercise. We've got the notorious stories of poets writing their stories locked in ivory towers. But performance poetry is both completely interior and then completely exterior.
Yeah, and you don't know how people will react to it. So you take something that's so honest and so difficult sometimes, and you put it out there, and people react to it in such different ways that it's very rewarding. And
you've also got a chapbook. Is that with your poetry, or is that?
Yes, so it's full of some of my poems. It's called Breach Baby.
Breach Baby?
Yes.
Check it out, people.
And I'm working on a book at the moment, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the book about?
It's got prose and poetry. So I went home last March and did a series of.
Home meaning?
To Goa. So I went
to Goa still home? Yep.
Goa still home. It's always home.
Yep.
Yeah. So it should be a bit of prose and some poetry that complements it.
Have you read in Goa or in India?
I read in Bangalore.
Did you? How were you received?
Year. Really well. Really, really well.
Fantastic. Do you want to tell us briefly what the two pieces we're going to hear from you?
Okay, the first one is sort of in response to the really brutal rapes that happened, and then it was a big deal internationally.
In
India,
yeah,
in Delhi.
Yeah.
And the second piece is just a lovey-dovey one-ish. All her life, she had been someone else's life. Someone else's hopes wrapped up in someone else's version of pretty, held together by obligation. All her life she had seen but never spoken, had questions she'd never asked, told truths she didn't believe in. Head to toe she was someone else's disappointment, hate, envy, preconceived notion. When I met her, she had resolve written all over her face. It glistened in the sunlight, it hid beneath the dark circles under her eyes. She always had more plans than sleep, more worry than gain, more than anyone I had ever met before. She climbed trees, skimmed knees, buried trinkets and treasures, made maps of you are here, and this is where you want to be. Maps that changed as furiously as her plans did, you see. She'd always been someone else's life. Someone else's problem, someone else's find. When they found her, she wasn't pretty. She had resolve marked furiously all over her body, clenched fist to mark her territory. She was the bravest woman I'd ever met. She's the decisions I make without regret. She's unapologetic. No, I will not let you. She's holding my hand with every fuck you. She's decisions I will make. Betrayals I will forgive, and darkness I will not run into. She is resolve. In the quiet of my soul, in the tip of my pen, in the many shades of woman that will someday make me whole. So this poem is about love. If I had known that the last time I held you or saw you or kissed you would have been the last time, I would have held you longer, closer, harder, pressed against my memory like the roots of a 200-year-old sycamore, trying to break free from the concrete pavements that line the streets of my mind. I would have remembered every color, every shape, every smile, every breath. See, I always wondered what they meant, those people who are scared to forget, always regretting what they had lost. I've never regretted a single moment shared with you, never held back and given you just enough. I've always known that someday you might walk away and not return. Someday, not a faraway thought, but a real, constant, everyday feeling. See, one must always be prepared because anything can happen to anyone, and because something was kind enough to happen to us. And greed is but the cause of all evil, so I don't want all of you forever. I want everything that you will willingly give me, until someday you won't. From the first moment I stole your breath, using your exhales to fuel mine, I remember the way your skin felt against the jagged edge of my elbow, the way my toes seek you out amidst blankets, the way I am spent in your presence, the way you make me glow, like some extraterrestrial life form with a secret that mere mortals cannot comprehend. The way you make me want to sit back and observe instead of participate until we decide to crawl inside each other's heads again and wear each other's skin. Sit still, barely touching, and call it comfortable, or even just awesome. I remember stealing your thoughts without your consent, watching you cringe when my eyes relayed your musings, barely imperceptible twitches that give you away, the not-so-subtle fluctuations of my cornea and my brow and my stupid expressive face that gives me away, but watching you cringe now. Because we do not have control over everything, and as much control as I've given you, I do not give you control over this. I do not let you decide what you can or cannot do to me and how much and for how long, because I am perfectly capable of carrying you. Like a woman walking through a desert with earthen pots stacked on her head, standing steady, staying strong, balancing pain and need and want and desire against her flimsy neck, bracing her spine for more. Because she knows the value of an earthen pot. And I am perfectly capable of carrying you with me into my tomorrow. Because whoever thought that you and I don't fit or fit well or look great together or aren't going to last, they're all wrong. Because you and I, we're not up for speculation. We're not the byproduct of someone else's conjecture, of someone else's approval or lack thereof. And this is the best idea that I have had in my 52-year-old existence. So if age and weed and dementia won't destroy us, what makes you think you can? Thank you.
That's been Rochelle De Silva on Quedia on Bench TV. This is the sort of programming we bring to you. Until next time, good night.
Hey, this is Ginni back on Powered entirely by Ginni for BTV 2014. I'm pretty excited because my first guest I'm a huge fan of. Hey, this is Ginni back on Powered entirely by Ginni for BTV 2014. I'm pretty excited because my first guest I'm a huge fan of. She's been out strutting about with her rock gear on, bringing back rock and roll. I don't know much about rock and roll, but she's here to educate me. Brihony Dawson joins me from Last Mistress. Hey, Brihony.
Hey, Ginni, how are you?
Good, thanks, love. Thanks for joining me.
No problem.
Now, you're here to educate me on rock and roll, on how to get out of sticky situations.
Yeah.
All these things. I'm pretty excited, but let's talk about your career first.
Yes, let's do that.
You've had a pretty big year last year. You were touring around LA, getting your album done.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I was writing the album. I went over there for 3 months and worked with some pretty cool people. I worked with Gina Shock, the drummer in the Go-Go's.
Wow.
That was pretty cool. A guy called Jeff Bova, who's won a Grammy and has worked with everyone from Eric Clapton to Michael Jackson.
So he's not that important.
Well, yeah. So it was a really, really good experience. So I'm hoping to head back on a more permanent basis soon.
LA, like I've been there a couple of times, not as a musician, so I can't really see it from your perspective, but it really does have a life to it when it comes to the arts industry, doesn't it?
Yeah. You can feel it when you walk around the streets. And you can go to bars where Prince used to do new material. You can go down the road to a sports bar where Janis Joplin used to hang out and where she had her last meal, which was not gin and tonic, was a vodka and orange.
Really?
That was her last meal.
Wow.
At Barney's Beanery.
So you wouldn't know this unless you go there,
That's
right?
That's right.
So what's kind of making you gravitate towards LA other than obviously the career parts?
Just LA itself. It's such, you either love or you hate LA. And I really, really enjoyed it. The music scene is just incredible and it just pulls you towards it. So it's hard to not want to be there. And the sun.
Well,
sun shines a lot of the time.
I was going to say, you're looking a bit tan.
I got a spray tan. Spray tan this morning. Got a gig.
I'm going to say Last Mistress. Now, when I first heard that you were coming out with this band, I thought, all right, it's this big 10-piece ensemble.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about Last Mistress? You're the lead singer, obviously.
Yes, I am.
And there's, 4 of you?
Yes, there's 5 in total.
Yeah.
There's me and the boys. It's a bit of a Joan Jett and the Blackhearts type thing. Yeah, we're like an 80s influenced rock band. So I've just been obsessed with 80s music and especially 80s rock music for a pretty long time. And I want to bring that sound back into rock and roll.
Yeah.
So that was sort of my main reason for starting the band and writing the songs like we do and really pushing the guys in the band to sort of let go of, because they're sort of all into 90s rock and that kind of thing, where you're kind of a little bit shy of your guitar solo, whereas like in the 80s it was like, all right, get out of my way, it's my guitar solo. So yeah, it's really good, and I think they all enjoy playing that kind of music as well.
Right, and your new EP's out, I heard?
The new album. It's
sorry.
a full-length 10-song album.
Because I was thinking, she's going to record 4 tracks over in LA, but no, you've done 10.
I recorded it here, but I wrote most of the songs over there.
Yeah.
People just sort of open their address books up to you over there and they're like, oh, you've got to meet this person, and then you go sit in their studio in their home and watch their kids run around while you're like
writing from your heart.
Yeah. So it was really good to sort of expand the way you write music, because everybody writes differently.
Yeah.
And I got into a session with these 2 guys, and I'd always sat there and sort of worked with them and just sort of, what do you think of this melody and that kind of thing. And then with them, we got into a studio, they set up like a rehearsal room. They were like, cool, we're just going to play something and you just sing over the top. And I was like, oh, I don't really do it like that. And they're like, I don't give a fuck. This is how we do it. And I was just like, so then you're just like humming along to something that they're playing and they record it on an iPhone and then you sit back and then you
listen back to it.
Yeah.
Random.
It was really, it was very different to write a song like that.
One thing I found out about you recently, Brihony. You can get out of very sticky situations. Yeah, you got to teach me this shit because I get into, I find myself in situations sometimes where either my voice goes very high, trying to get out of it. It doesn't really work for me.
Yep.
But you actually showed me something outside.
Yeah, I did.
That works.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an actual talent to be able to continuously get yourself into the sticky situations. I've prided myself on that for many years now. But the thing that gets you out of any situation is a lunge.
A lunge?
A lunge, a deep lunge.
Is there a certain depth to it? Like, does it have to be, like, your knee has to be, 2 centimetres above floor level or sea level?
Like there's no real measurement, but it's more the feel of commitment.
Right.
That you really give the lunge.
So this is a wisdom you're passing on to the community of Melbourne.
That's what I'm going to do.
So give me a situation so you're at a bar.
I'm at a bar.
Yep.
And it's 4 a.m. and the liquor license is done and the security is just really trying to get you out and you've just bought a beer. And
you just bought a beer.
You're like, I want to finish this beer.
Of course you do.
You're practically being picked up and chucked out of the place.
Yeah.
That's when you just get into the lunge. I need to show you.
You got to
show you the lunge.
You have to show me.
Are you ready for this?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so you're in a bar and the security guard, you got your drink and the security guard goes, look, guys, you're going to have to leave. You're like, really? Do I really have to go just yet?
No,
I
you don't.
guarantee you, it's guaranteed another 10 minutes.
Buys you 10 minutes.
Buys you 10 minutes.
Oh, there you go. Well, Brihony Dawson from Last Mistress, imparting wisdom to the world about getting out of sticky situations and rock and roll. All right, thank you for imparting that wisdom to me, Brihony. Blood, Sweat and Fears, it's out. When was it out? Like October, you said?
Yeah, it was released in October 2013.
Right, so it's out, available on iTunes?
Yes, it is.
You can download it?
Yes, you can.
Any song about lunges in there?
There is no song about lunges, but I feel like...
A duet is forming.
Yeah, maybe Cut Lunge.
Cut Lunge?
Yeah.
Cut Lung featuring Ginni.
Yes. Just Ginni.
This has been Ginni on BTV with special guest Brihony Dawson from Last Mistress, teaching us about rock and roll and how to get out of sticky situations. Tune in to me next time here on Channel 31 Digital 44. Lunging.
Lunge.
Now, if you'd like to help us at Bent TV, if you'd like to volunteer or become a series producer or a camera person, please contact us at www.benttv.org.au. We'd love to hear from you and we could really do with the support and the help. Thank you. Good night.